Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show tonight. It's finally here. The new Congress is in session. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, just came out and they've laid out the new playbook for Trump and his agenda. They have a new set of rules. The way that they're going to spend money, the way they're going to bring things to the floor is all going to be in priority for Trump's agenda. The new Congress is in station, and I'm going to show you a video where Mike Johnson explains it all. They not only have the new playbook, but they also have the priority to allocate funds necessary to make sure that Trump's agenda gets done as fast as possible, with number one priority of sealing off the border on day one. Trump actually posted on X.com detailing a lot of what needs to be done and the priority of it and how we're actually going to fund it. Because remember, $36 trillion in debt, we got to be able to pay for this stuff. We also have more info that is coming out on the January 6th protest. Bongino calls this the biggest scandal cover-up ever. The FBI has been lying to the American people, trying to cover it up. The politicians have been trying to cover it up. It's been complete sabotage against the Jan 6ers. And that's where we just got a video where somebody that's close to the transition team with Trump says that he's going to pardon every single person that was unlawfully jailed from the January 6th protest. Also, we have the Florida State Grand Jury. Guys, this is about as big as anything else I'm going to say. That takes the first step going against Big Pharma, because they said, the grand jury of Florida said they engaged in a pattern of deceptive behavior and advertising to people to take the vaccine for the COVID-19 shot, which raked in billions for them and put a lot of people in place where it wasn't even a choice. And thankfully, we have a growing number of Democrats who are coming out to admit they want to work with Donald Trump to make things better, and that they, for the past 8 years, guys, I'm literally going to show you this. This is insane. They said for the past 8 years, even when it came back to Hillary Clinton in 2016, 2017, they were coerced by the Democratic mafia of the Bidens, the Clintons, and the Obamas. We got a ton of breaking news to show you tonight, guys. It is going to be amazing. I want to say thank you to everybody that is watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, guys. It's free. Do it for me. I'm here for you. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help to grow the channel. And thank you so much to everybody that gives a super chat donation. And thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel. Y'all are the best. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. But we're going to jump straight into this news conference, guys. Things are heating up. Check it out.
Welcome to the 119th Congress. It has already gotten off to a swift start, and it has to. And I tell you what, there's a real feeling on Capitol Hill right now in the midst of the snow and all the winter drama, as well as across the country. It really does feel like a new day in America. It really does. And we're excited about it. The excitement is palpable. Our members are ready to get to work, and we already are. We have hit the ground running, as we promised everyone we would on that campaign trail, because we have to fix everything, and it begins today. On Friday, we passed our rules package, as you all know, and that included 12 policy measures that prove to the people that House Republicans are serious about this, delivering on our promises. You'll see instant measures right out of the gates here to secure the border, unleash American energy, protect American elections, and return to common sense, which will be a primary theme of the new year for all of us. On Saturday and Sunday, we took questions about our policy agenda and what will happen over the next several months. You all heard me say over the last year we were developing, using my football metaphors, we were developing a playbook. And we have very well-designed plays, and now we're working out the sequence of those plays, working with the new head coach in that metaphor, which is President Trump, and our colleagues and teammates in the Senate Republicans. And we're excited about how all of that is rolling out. We trudged through the snow yesterday to certify the election, and that went off without a hitch. 38 minutes to certify the new president. That might be a record, I'm not sure, but it went off well. And President Trump won the popular vote And he won all 7 swing states, which we stood to applaud during that important procedure. The America First agenda will be on full display. That was the mandate we got in the election, with the president receiving 77 million popular votes and the House Republicans receiving almost 75 million, which I think is a record. We won the popular vote as well. And we know that message has been heard here loud and clear. As promised, we're starting today with border security. If you polled the populace and the voters, they would tell you that was the top of the list. And we have a lot to do there to fix it. It's an absolute disaster because of...
I'm telling you, the border security right here, straight out of... Guys, Donald Trump does not post much on X, but right here he said, members of Congress are getting to work on one powerful bill that will bring our country back and make it greater than ever before. We must secure our border. Number 1, unleash American energy. Number 2, and renew the Trump tax cuts, which were the largest in history, but we will make it even better. No tax on tips. It will be made up with tariffs and much more from countries that have taken advantage of the U.S. for years. Republicans must unite and quickly deliver these historic victories for the American people. Get smart, tough, and send the bill to my desk to sign as soon as possible. Make America that Kash Patel is going to unleash. Thank you so much, Brenda Burciago, for joining the TrueLife fam. Let's go. Y'all show Brenda some love in the chat. Check this out.
Folks, they know who this person is. They just don't want you to know who this person is. I am absolutely certain this is the biggest political scandal of our time, and that the FBI has been hiding a massive fake assassination plot to shut down the questioning of the 2020 election. They know it's going to come out the second Kash gets sworn in, and they're trying to get ahead of it now, but they're releasing information slowly because the second they put the unedited video out, you know the ex-Twitter sphere and all the conservative investigators out there are going to go to town. They're going to find this person. I want you to remember everything they did to hide from you what happened that day. And these are all facts. The January 6th committee that was supposed to investigate this and this assassination attempt, the January 6th committee doesn't even mention the pipe bomb attack in their report. It is only mentioned in the appendix. How do I back myself up with that? Open the report yourself and look for it. You will see it nowhere. That's strange, right? Adam Kinzinger, Benny Thompson, Liz Cheney, they hate Donald Trump. Why wouldn't you bring up in your report an assassination attempt on his opponent, Kamala Harris? Or at least in that race was the vice presidential opponent. Why wouldn't you mention that? That's not in there anywhere. And when Tom Massey questioned Benny Thompson about it, Benny Thompson freaked out. Oh, you look into it. We didn't look into it. Really? You didn't? The Secret Service text that day when they evacuated Kamala Harris because a bomb was found, have all disappeared. The Secret Service to this day claims, oh, they disappeared because we were doing a technology transfer and we magically lost them. I'm telling you from a source that story's total bull. That the devices were not taken on January 6th. They were taken months later. And the new devices had all that information wiped out. Somebody's hiding from you Secret Service communications about that day, and I'm telling you what they are. It's someone in the government telling the Secret Service to stand down and not investigate this because they knew it was an insider.
Wow.
What else happened that day? The frame rate and the video. The frame rate we already discussed has been manipulated, and there's camera footage from that day that's mysteriously missing. Cameras that were focused where the bomb was planted were mysteriously moved away. Why? It's almost like someone knew a bomb was going to be planted there, and they told someone in an ops center, maybe the JOC or elsewhere, hey, move those cameras away. We can't have this on video. You think I'm done? No, I'm not. The phone records of the bomber who is on the phone, on the bench. Everybody knows that specific triangulated signal. They have the number. They have it. They know who it is. The FBI told the public that the phone records were corrupted. and that they couldn't decipher them. However, after the Donald Trump election win, the phone company came back and said, it's not exactly true.
It's a
The
big
phone records
cover-up,
aren't
y'all.
corrupted. They know. Here's one last thing, and there's more, by the way. There's a lot more. Kamala Harris has been covering up what she's been doing, what she was doing at the DNC that day. She never talks about it. If she mentions it in passing, and she alludes to the fact she was at the Capitol when she wasn't. Why not just say, oh my gosh, I was almost assassinated by MAGA terrorists at the DNC. I was just on some phone calls. Why not? She covers it up because she doesn't want you asking questions about who did it.
Ho, 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 ho.
Folks, Mike Benz may have come across something incredible. This video is one of the most amazing things you're going to see. If that blurring of the eyeballs is intentional, and the FBI thought we'd be so stupid that we wouldn't find it, and if that was intentional, that's obstruction of an investigation, destruction of evidence. People belong in jail. Jail. We're done with administrative fines. Folks, Cash is going to be in charge soon. Cash is a totally different animal. I've known Cash a long time. He's a no guy. I want him to get to the bottom of this. We need Cash in there now more than ever. He did an interview with Glenn Beck a little bit ago. This is the guy coming in to lead the FBI, talking about another scandal, too, that sums up this whole show about Facebook, the intelligence community, fact checkers, all hiding J6 narratives, COVID, all this stuff. Cash knows that that's the problem. Here he is talking about the CIA, Gina Haspel, and their role in a massive COVID cover-up when it comes to the origins of COVID. Another enormous scandal. Check this out.
Huge.
So I already told you what we did when we briefed Trump on the originations and what he did, based on the intel we had at the time. Then enter Fauci and the media. No, the Chinese would never do this. It's not about, no, it didn't come from them. Then the wet bat thing came out and some other goofy whatever.
Right.
Okay, what did we just learn 6 weeks ago? Gina Haspel, as director of the CIA, under Trump, authorized 6 case officers and intelligence analysts to be paid off so that they would change their assessment on COVID originations.
Correct.
That's not a Kash Patel thing.
That's CIA.
That's a CIA
yeah.
institutional decision to spend taxpayer dollars to lie to the world where COVID came from because it fit the narrative that Fauci and the media wanted out there, along with Gina Haspel, because she didn't want Donald Trump to get the credit for reading the intel right.
Man, I'm ready for these
and
people to
making
be
the
exposed.
hard right decision.
You see why so many people are afraid of Cash? It's not just the pipe bomber. It's not just COVID. It's not just the targeting of pro-lifers and Moms for Liberty by the FBI. Cash was a figure involved in both the legal side, the intel side, and the DOD side in the Trump administration. He understands it all. The CIA and our own government, if you dared speak out that COVID may have been some bioweapon from China, you were censored despite the fact that you were likely correct. And our own CIA had a role in targeting you. Folks, the misinformation and disinformation has been coming exclusively from the left. Folks,
Exclusively, guys. Let me tell you this. Becky Gavon, let's go. Welcome to the channel. I love it. Look, this broke today. Accountability is coming, guys. COVID. Florida statewide grand jury finds Big Pharma engaged in a pattern of deceptive and obfuscatory behavior while pushing the COVID-19 vaccines to rake in billions in profit. It found that Pharma hid adverse side effects from the vaccines from the public. This is from Ron DeSantis, guys. This is going to blow up big time over what they did, how they tried to hide the agenda, what they did to pay people off. It starts here. And not only that, what else starts here is there's so much that has just been put on the table, guys, where we are going to call out these fact checkers. So check this out. New York Times. So today, Meta came out, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, Meta said, we're getting rid of third-party fact checkers and we're going to do community notes like X. Well, Meta says fact checkers were the problem. The fact checkers ruled that false. They literally came out and said, no, we're not the problem. We were just doing what Meta wanted us to do. Can you believe this, guys? The fact checkers are literally calling out the fact that Zuckerberg and them lied and are continuing to lie just to save their own butts. And not only that, they're also trying to cover up that Biden was involved with all of this. Listen to this, guys, because he is very, to me, bitter, and he's taking it out on the American people.
Josh Hawley. Senator, Liz Cheney and George Soros, that kind of does sum it up, does it not? And that's just the ultimate in pettiness on the part of this administration.
And that's really what they're left with, Laura, at the end of the day. Pettiness. This is the last gasp of a dying liberalism. And these are their pinups, their poster children. I mean, Liz Cheney, that's who they want to go out the door with. George Soros, their financier. Listen, Biden has been trying to sabotage the country for the last 4 years, opening our borders, shutting down our oil and natural gas, taking away gas stoves. So, of course, he's doing this on the way out. The good news is that help is on the way. And, Laura, the other thing this speaks to is Congress needs to get busy, get active right now, and start passing legislation to overturn all of this. We need to open up our energy production. We need to shut down our border. We need to get this country strong again. Congress can do it, and it's time to get after it.
Well, right now we have a situation where Donald Trump's going to be in about a week. They know he's going to just rescind a lot of these executive orders. Some of them have been overturned by the courts, like the forgiveness of student loans, and yet Biden still finds money to try to allocate to do that. And at the same time, Biden is sending billions to Ukraine when Trump has made it clear that war is going to end. Period. It's going to end. So why continue to send the billions out the door now?
Well, I think that this is his attempt to try and cement his policies. So, of course, Trump can't do anything about it, but it's not going to work, Laura. It just isn't going to work. And what a failure. I mean, what we're really seeing here is a parade of failures. Liz Cheney, the January 6th committee, what a bunch of failures and frauds who lied to this country. The Ukraine policy, it's in total shambles. Biden has given us nothing but war everywhere we look. He has given us danger on our streets. He's given us open borders. So, of course, the American people voted to overturn all of that stuff. Of course, the American people hate all of this. That's why Trump got elected. That's why Trump is going to start overturning all of this in just over a week, as you say. And it's why Congress needs to get active right now. Let's start doing it. Republicans have control of Congress. The Congress is in session, both houses. Let's get after it. It's time to give the American people some relief and get this country moving again.
Well, Senator, I know Donald Trump made the point today that Ashley Babbitt was the only person who was killed on January 6th. She was shot, dead. And then he made the point that there were no guns in the Capitol on January 6th during that riot. But then Daniel Dale, the fact checker on CNN, decides to do this. Watch.
This not one gun thing, Dana, has been debunked for 3.5 years now, if not more. It is an out-and-out lie. Now, we'll never get a complete inventory of the number of guns brought by people to the Capitol that day because most of them were permitted to leave before later being arrested. But there have been numerous cases in which people carried guns on Capitol grounds and were convicted for it.
Isn't it the case that they understand what Trump was saying there, that this was not an effort to carry out an insurrection at the Capitol? There were people who shouldn't have done what they did, but in general, this was not the way it was portrayed by the media or by the Democrats. And again, they continue. They won't let it go, like they've learned nothing.
And the whole country knows that, Laura. I mean, the whole country has looked at this. They know the facts. They know that the Democrats tried to turn this into their issue that they thought they could win on forever by, frankly, lying to the country about what happened that day, by prosecuting people who were there peacefully, Laura, who did nothing wrong. I mean, really, it's an outrage what they have tried to do. And the country knows it, which is why when they said all this about Trump and they tried to kick him off the ballot and they called him an insurrectionist, the courts threw that out and the country looked at that and they said, yeah, we don't agree with that. They just reelected the guy. lie. They've rendered their judgment on this, and I think the country is tired of the Democrats' playbook. They're tired of the lies. They're tired of the division. They're tired of the Democrats making this country weak, and that's why they voted for Trump. That's why he's going to start overturning and undoing their policies in just over a week.
Yeah, well, and Trump made the point, nobody was charged with insurrection. He wasn't charged with it. So all of this is just, and they are the angriest people out there. Even that little fact checker, he seems very perturbed all the time. Senator, thank you so much.
Guys, I'm telling you, isn't that crazy? They kept saying insurrection, 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 but guess what? Nobody got charged with it, not even Trump. So that doesn't make any sense. Want to show you right here, guys. I want to show you 3 things that have been introduced today. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, remember, Trump said, we're going to be making a lot of changes. We got to make some changes to the Constitution. We got to put bills out and be ready when I get in office to sign. We are hearing of now close to 100 bills or executive orders and changes that he's going to sign on day one. This is one of them. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz has introduced an amendment to the U.S. Constitution to impose term limits on members of Congress. Boom. Trump said, I want it done ASAP. This is what we need. Next one. Legislation to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America has been announced immediately by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. We've got legislation has been introduced to make daylight savings time permanent, ensuring that the clocks will never fall back again. No more changing your clocks, guys. There's so much good stuff happening. And what I love, too, is that Trump is given a vision of what's about to happen over the next 2 to 4 years of him not only making America great again, but also in growing America's footprint. Guys, listen to this. This is so smart. Check this out.
So, Jack, right there from the Diplomat, that's one of the best explanations of the strategic importance of Greenland in Iceland, what they call the Gaia Gap. That chessboard, he's got Canada. President was having a serious conversation about, I don't know, emerging with Canada, having Canada. He had a very lucid description of the money we put in, et cetera, a very intelligent conversation on Greenland. And the best of all was the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal, he was quite blunt. The Panama Canal it was not built by the United States. It was built for our military. It was never built to have our existential threat enemy, the Chinese Communist Party, control it. That's just not going to happen. People in Panama got to understand that things have got to change there, or they're going to be big changes. Just like yesterday, some of the people in Central America are talking. Some of the leaders there are saying they're not going to let the United States use their military bases if anybody's deported. Hey, I got news for you, and this is why I advise a summit in McAllen, Texas. Bring everybody together. Let's get them in a room. Trump's a deal maker. Let's get everybody on the same page that this is happening. The deportation is going to happen, and there'll be some economic deals cut. But if there's any kind of resistance, you're going to get tariffed. You're going to get put into the ozone economically. President Trump just said it there when Von Hilliard almost choked on his microphone. And I said, Mr. President, you're not serious. I know you're not serious. He goes, hey, I'm damn serious. Jack Posobiec, your thoughts?
Well, Steve, it's, and I say this, you got a couple of Navy officers here, Posse. So I say this as someone who actually served there. But, if these guys down in Central America or other parts of the Caribbean have an issue with the United States using their overseas bases, then why don't you go have a conversation about that with the Castro family? Because they've been trying to kick us out of Guantanamo Bay since they came to power. But where is the United States' oldest overseas base? Ask you, well, it's in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Why is it? Why is it that the very same territory that the Rough Riders ran roughshod over, with Teddy Roosevelt leading the way there in the war against Spain in 1898, why has the United States maintained Guantanamo Bay for this long? Because it is in our geostrategic and geopolitical interest to control the sea lanes of our own backyard. The Gulf of America absolutely has to happen. Maintaining dominance over the Caribbean absolutely has to happen. And by the way, I'm not, and I say that because I include the Panama Canal. Clearly, that is the key choke point here in this region, in the Northern Hemisphere, but also because China has got, look, China's been going through on a buying frenzy across all of the Caribbean, running debt trap diplomacy. They already practically own Jamaica. Go and look at all of the other crown colonies, not to mention what their influence in Cuba, Venezuela, etc. This is all over the Caribbean. And so when it comes to military, yes, absolutely, we need to go back to the Monroe Doctrine. We're not talking about democratizing the Middle East. And by the way, the same people who sold you a bill of goods on the fool's errand of trying to democratize the Middle East and say we should go back to places like Afghanistan or get involved in Ukraine more, they're going to turn around and say that we shouldn't do anything to actually benefit the American people who live here now.
If you can put us on a split screen, Denver, and let's put that map up. For the America First people, Jack and I are going to address right now changing the conversation because there are a number of the Warren Posse and others, the folks who watch Real America's Voice up on Getter, over the Rumble crowd, a little rough over in Rumble, that are really critical about changing the conversation. But I want to put that chart up. If you for the hardest core America First guys, okay? If you want Fortress America, Trump's giving you Fortress America. Look at that right there, all the way from Panama up through Greenland, and he's talking about Canada. Can he pull any of this off? Hey, it's Donald Trump. Remember how they mocked him about being president? Remember how they mocked and ridiculed him when we had his back, this group, in January 2021? I think that was a lot harder than what he's talking about now, but he's got a vision. What I like about this is a vision. This is Fortress America. This is kind of what James Monroe in that end of the kind of revolutionary and founders, framers generation, Monroe being the last president from Massachusetts or Virginia, really the founders before he led into really the Andrew Jackson period. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I was just going to say that the Monroe Doctrine, again, for folks who don't realize this was done at the end of the Napoleonic Wars, and this was done at a time where the corollary to the Monroe Doctrine was that the United States would not go around poking into the affairs of other empires in Europe or Asia. That was the idea, that we would maintain our sphere of influence, they would maintain theirs, and then we would have diplomatic treaties beyond understanding how the relationship would go. That was the original Monroe Doctrine, so understand that. Now, I will say, though, for the record, Steve, I'm not exactly on board with the whole North American Union concept. Greenland, Panama Canal, yeah, sure, but Canada and Mexico, I don't know. I'm looking at the debt to earnings report on those things, and it's not so great. Maybe we could talk about reworking the trade deal. I don't know about wholesale annexation, brother. This
is not a union. This is an actual takeover. Sometimes it might be hostile. I love the vision. I want to go back. The DACA comment President Trump made, obviously the situation with HB1 visas, even the two, what I call the summer omnibus, which is going to go away. He's meeting with the...
Guys, let me tell you this. Trump is very serious. Look at this. Just posted again. Literally, this just happened like 15 minutes ago. Look at this. The United States. And there's a lot more little lines in there, guys, for some states. Divide them up. Half Republican, half Democratic. Not only that, he posted this earlier on Truth Social. Oh, Canada. Look at that. Growth of America. It is not by chance, guys. Trump is 100% serious about this. When they asked him earlier about, are you opposed to using military force in order to get this done? He said, no, I'm not opposed to it. This is ushering the next great era for America, guys. Check this out.
Something special.
We are at the beginning of a great, beautiful golden age of business. And I think we're also at a golden age of common sense, because everything I'm saying to you, from a simple water faucet that doesn't allow water to come out appropriately, to all of the other elements of what we do and what we're going to do, to take $50 to $60 trillion off our country's balance sheet, because some man that has no idea what he's doing, has no idea. You know it. I know it. The Democrats know it. What they did is a crime by allowing that to happen. So we're going to have a lot of fun making America great again, and it's going to happen, I think, very, very quickly. It's already happened.
Trump's ushering in the golden age of common sense. So on January 20th, it's going to start looking different, especially when you start buying appliances.
When you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. Comes down from heaven, and they want to do no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You're in the shower 10 times as long. They want very, very little water to go into your dishwasher, almost none. And you know what people do? They just keep pressing, keep it going. They end up using more water. He wants everybody to have an electric heater instead of a gas heater. Gas heater is much less expensive. The heat is much better. It's a much better heat. As the expression goes, you don't itch. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? And that's what they want you to have. These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them.
More powerful showers, warmer and cozier living rooms. Who can say no to that? America's the land of opportunity, and investors from all over the world are flying to Mar-a-Lago to write checks.
Yep.
A Middle Eastern billionaire just announced he's investing $20 billion here.
Woo!
I'm thrilled to announce today that DMAC will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time into the United States, and they may go double or even somewhat more than double that amount of money. The investment will support massive new data centers across the Midwest, the Sun Belt area, and also to keep America on the cutting edge of technology and artificial intelligence. He's very big into the data centers.
This money is going to kickstart Trump's AI economy and create high-paying jobs. It's just such a shame Biden's been holding this economy hostage.
It's been amazing news for me and my family when he was elected in November. We've been waiting 4 years to increase our investments in U.S. to a very large amount of money.
In the last few weeks, Asia and the Mideast have announced investments totaling over $100 billion into the United States of America. It's a nice change from America investing over $100 billion into other countries. The phones at Mar-a-Lago won't stop ringing.
There's never been anything like what's happened in the list since we won the election. A couple of months since we won the election, the whole perception of the whole world is different.
Yes.
People from other countries have called me. They said, thank you. Thank you.
Capitalists from all over the world are starting to pour money into this country. And the sitting president is tossing around hand grenades.
I've been disappointed to see the Biden administration's attempt to block the reforms of the American people and that they voted for. President Biden's actions yesterday on offshore drilling, banning offshore drilling, will not stand. I will reverse it immediately. It'll be done immediately. All they do is talk. It's all talk. Everything they do is talk. We're going to have a smooth transition, and then they take 625 million acres and they essentially landmark it so you can't ever drill there again. Well, we're going to be drilling soon.
Biden's banning American energy exploration. His judges are still trying to sentence the president-elect, and he's locking in work-from-home deals for thousands of bureaucrats. But the Democrats are saying, no, 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 it is a smooth transition.
Well, once again, Donald Trump is transferring to others that which he is often guilty of. It's not even in Joe Biden's personality at all to do anything like that. Joe Biden is not going to do anything to sabotage, and he's just making that up.
Once the clock strikes 12 on January 20th and the Democrats are completely shut out of power, their new strategy is to resist Trump like this. Watch.
I think we're going to be in good shape to exploit some of the conflicts and contradictions going on within the Republican conference. I think you probably saw, John, that the enraged, nativist, racist MAGA base is upset with Elon Musk and the oligarchs who want to bring in tens of thousands more cheap foreign laborers. And so that's something that's already starting to explode in terms of the Republican politics. But there's a bunch of issues like that.
pinning Musk against the base, Trump against Speaker Johnson, the Senate against nominees. That's the Democrats' only shot. So Republicans can't let the left interfere in our relationships. The mission is simple, and time is of the essence. House and Senate Republicans are already cracking down on illegal immigration. The House passed the Lake and Riley Act today, their first bill of the year.
Yes.
Any illegal arrested for theft must be detained, cannot be released. Tomorrow, Trump's going to be in town for Jimmy Carter's funeral, and he's having a powwow with Senate Republicans to talk strategy. And House Republicans are going to visit Mar-a-Lago over the weekend to hammer out legislation and the timeline. So Republicans can accomplish everything
that Donald Trump wants to happen, guys. It is so real. It's so big. I wanted to show you. This is one of the... Look, Donald Trump is a troll. He is. Look what he posted on True Social, because I'm telling you, like that one guy said, oh, it's not in Joe Biden's nature to do this and be like this. This is a picture of all the presidents to date. Look who is sitting in 46th spot. I had to zoom in. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to read it for you. It literally says liberal staffers. He took out Biden's picture and put in liberal staffers for the 46th president because, again, too, Biden's been nowhere to be seen. Cognitive decline, taking off early, sleeping in till 11 o'clock, going to bed at 6. I mean, guys, worse. I mean, just, we haven't really had a president. It's been the administration that has been running it. But again, too, what do you expect? The one thing I'm happy about, guys, is that we're reporting California Democrat Congressman Ami Bera just broke rank with his party and says he is prepared to compromise to help President Trump. He said, I think we're going to try to work with Republicans in 2017. I think a lot of us felt like many people didn't like Secretary Clinton, our nominee, and voted against her and took a chance on Donald Trump. This election, everybody in America knows Trump's agenda. He didn't try to hide anything, and they voted for him. Guys, this is great, great, great news. And what I love about it is that the more and more that we continue to see, they're literally calling it Trump's global domination. I love this. Check this out.
MAGA global domination. The pres-elect holding his second news conference at Mar-a-Lago since wiping the floor with the Dems back in November, Harold. He kicked things off by blasting Biden for trying to sabotage his administration after Joe announced a ban on new offshore drilling. Take it away, Donnie.
We are inheriting a difficult situation from the outgoing administration, and they're trying everything they can to make it more difficult. Inflation is continuing to rage, and interest rates are far too high. President Biden's actions yesterday on offshore drilling, banning offshore drilling, will not stand. I will reverse it immediately. They told me that we're going to do everything possible to make this transition to the new administration very smooth. It's not smooth.
Trump then outlining his plans to export MAGA globally. He's eyeing a Panama Canal takeback, scheming to make Greenland great again. Today, he sent his son Don Jr. to scope out the property. Trump also twisting Canada's arm for a merger with the U.S. And he wants to give the Gulf of Mexico a new name.
We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring.
Your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. But we need Greenland for national security purposes.
Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security.
Yes.
A man, a plan, Panama. But Canada's outgoing prime minister and black-faced enthusiast disagrees, Justin Trudeau quoting on X. There isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the U.S. And other Canucks are mad.
To the president, I'll make him a counteroffer. How about if we buy Alaska and we'll throw in Minnesota and Minneapolis at the same time?
Hey, Donald, have we got a deal for you? You think we want to be the 51st state? Nah, but maybe California would like to be the 11th province. How about it? California, Oregon, Washington?
We have to denigrate America. He's saying, Gulf of Mexico? Nah. Gulf of America.
And how are you going to disagree with that?
Yeah.
You can't disagree. You're going to come out against America? What are you, for the Mexicans? Permission to make an analogy?
Permission granted.
This is like Tyrus. Tyrus's neighborhood. And Tyrus is kind of like the neighborhood watch, the one-man neighborhood watch. And he happens to also have the biggest house in the neighborhood, and he also happens to be a trillionaire. And one day, Tyrus takes a stroll in the neighborhood, looking around, and he sees a house that is next door that he likes. And he knocks on the door, knock, knock. How much? Oh, this house is not for sale. Well, of course it is. How much? Oh, this house is not for sale. Well, I can take it by force, or you guys can sleep on it, and maybe tomorrow you can tell me what the price is. That's where we are with Trump. He is America's real estate tycoon. So he's testing the waters. He's flexing his muscle. He's just seeing what's possible out there and trying to find out the new contours of the new world order and ultimately trying to get a better deal for America. And I think the grand strategy is create a North American trade, energy, and security network that gets the best terms for us. Now, I looked into Greenland.
No, you didn't.
I did. So the pros of Greenland are a lot of minerals, great. You could project a lot of force to counter Russia through there. But it's also a very poor country. And we basically do whatever we want there anyway. And it would really piss off Denmark and all of Scandinavia. And they would ruin our access to the North Sea and the Baltic. See, I did study, Greg. And then in terms of Panama, yes. I definitely think they need to reduce the transit rates because we're getting ripped off every time we sail through there. But I don't want to occupy that stupid country. It's run by cartels. That'd be a mess. Canada. At first I wanted it, and I tried to divide it into 2 states. And then I realized we'd be adding Montana, basically, for the Republicans, and electorally like a Texas for the Democrats. And I don't like that. But the fact that they don't want us to take them over makes me want to invade. I want to quench my imperialist thirst.
I think that this is happening all over the Western world. Name a government that's doing well under the left's socialist policies.
Yeah.
Not Germany.
Nope.
Not England. Yeah, certainly none of them are actually thriving. Now, don't at me with your GDP. But Trump has the wind at his back. And he won. And look at Trudeau. If you look at the GDP for Trudeau and America, it has separated. Like, there's no wonder he is sunk like a stone when it comes to his popularity. The other thing I would think about is Richard Nixon. They said he had that madman theory. And this is sort of this as well. There is no way that anybody would actually be talking about America buying Greenland or Canada or changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America if Trump didn't have the wind at his back. And all of these other countries are going, is he serious? Are we next? And they're keeping everyone on their toes. And it reminds me of one quick story about David Remnick's a writer for The New Yorker, and he had an opportunity to meet these North Koreans who work at the UN, but they have to stay in a little office, and they're supposed to report back every day. So David Remnick, the reporter, got granted access to go and do this interview. He was going to go to North Korea, maybe get to see the leader. But the whole time during the interview, the only thing these North Korean diplomats did was say, what do you think Trump means?
Right.
What does he say? Like, when he says this, what does this mean? Because they didn't know how to translate it back to their leader, and they thought they might get executed if they
Zelensky said that when he...
This is big news, guys. Trump's global domination is so real. I want to show you this amazing video that came out today, guys. Brian McGavick, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Say, riding through Daytona MAGA. And thank you so much, Becky Gavon, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show them some love in the chat. So, guys, this is huge. This is a person who is connected, who's telling us what's going to happen with all the Jan 6ers. Check this out.
Hey everybody, I just got the most amazing freaking news. Suzanne Monk just called me, and from channels inside the transition team, we are hearing that President Trump is going to pardon every single last J6er, and he should have that paperwork and have it signed within 9 minutes of his inauguration being finished on January 20th. So this is amazing. I mean, like, you know, the whole thing is, are they going to let these guys out that have these weapons charges? Well, what's a weapon? A water bottle? Like, we all know how they were classifying every single person at J6, but seriously, every single person is going to get pardoned. This is coming from the transition team. And Suzanne Monk, Trentis Evans, mwah, to you guys. Best news I've heard in the last 4 years. I mean, I'm just so excited. So please go to the link in the comment box below.
Guys, this is big news. Again, it's like you hear things, there's like leaks here and there, but the biggest thing is like when you actually hear people that are connected to the transition team, what's actually going to happen. It's amazing because again, too, Trump is very serious, guys. I think he wants to solidify himself as the greatest president ever. And if he's able to do some of the stuff that I'm about to show you, I think he could do that. Check this out.
On a country, an island, and a canal. But before he whips out the checkbook, he's rebranding bodies of water.
So we're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
Congress is already drafting a bill to rename the Gulf. And why not? Democrats renamed Columbus Day. After that, it's time to buy some real estate.
The Panama Canal is a disgrace, what took place at the Panama Canal. We gave it away for $1. But the deal was that, you know, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid, but we're not stupid anymore.
The canal just jacked up prices, and since our ships are the biggest and use it the most, we're the hardest hit.
Wow.
We're the victim. Like Ronald Reagan said about the canal, we bought it, we paid for it, we built it. The least they could do is give us a discount, but it's not just Panama that needs to get it together.
Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you?
Governor Trudeau stepped down yesterday. Like Biden, his party turned on him. He's not running for re-election, and he's being roasted on late-night TV.
Now I want to see you eat it.
Excuse me? The hamburger.
The Big Mac.
Oh, sorry, guys. I got it.
Run for prime minister, you'll win it'll take.
Sorry, I got to skip it because like SNL and all them, they do not like you showing anything, and they'll try to take my video down. So that's why we got to skip it.
2 seconds, but he said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me. I said, I don't know. Let's make it governor. I like it better.
Gretzky has 4 Stanley Cups. Trudeau, 0. It's not even a question. But the governor's trying to hold on to his dignity. Today he said there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States. Other Canadian politicians are making counteroffers.
Hey, Donald, have we got a deal for you? You think we want to be the 51st state? Nah, but maybe California would like to be the 11th province. How about it? California? Oregon? Washington?
You know something? To the president, I'll make him a counteroffer. How about if we buy Alaska and we'll throw in Minnesota and Minneapolis at the same time?
No deal. But if you want to take Minneapolis off our hands, she's yours. She's kind of, you know. We're going to interview that Canadian politician in a few minutes. Make him an offer he can't refuse.
Let's go.
But before Trump scoops up Canada, he's scoping out Greenland.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen.
Trump saying we need Greenland to protect Denmark and the rest of the free world. How does Denmark need it more than we do? Denmark should want us to have Greenland. It's in everyone's interest. Imagine if something bad happened to Europe and it was because the United States didn't have Greenland. How do you think Denmark would feel then? Today, Trump Force One took an expeditionary flight to Greenland, delivering an American dignitary to stake a diplomatic claim.
We're here in Nuuk, Greenland. Just incredible scenery. Super cool stuff.
The people of Greenland were delighted to see Don Jr.
Okay, we are here in Greenland with Don
I love
Jr.
this.
Everyone wants to be on TikTok. What do you guys think of America? Great. You love America and you love Trump?
Yes, of course.
The youth of Greenland, Don.
We're hearing a lot of it, guys. We're hearing a lot of it.
47 even called in to greet our new family members.
I just want to say that it's a very special place. It needs security for itself, but it also needs security very much for the world. The location really, you see the people and the ships sailing around, and they're not the right ships, and they're not the ships you want to know about. So we need security, and our country needs it, and the whole world needs it.
Yes.
You're so strategically located.
Yeah.
So it's really imperative.
Denmark just doesn't see the potential in Greenland that Trump does. He knows what Greenland is capable of, and Greenland will never be able to achieve what it's capable of under the thumb of the Danes. And the Greenlandians are excited, but the Danish are not.
I will make it very clear that seen with the eyes of the Danish government, Greenland is for the Greenlandic people. It is a proud people, a language and culture that is their own. Greenland is not for sale.
That was the Prime Minister of Denmark, speaking softly and carrying no stick. Denmark can be at the negotiating table, but it's really not their call. It's up to the people of Greenland. If they hold a vote to come with us, what's Denmark going to do about it? We can do things the easy way or the hard way. And sometimes Trump prefers the hard way. The King of Denmark is posturing too. He changed the royal coat of arms so that the polar bear, which represents Greenland, is much bigger. There are also a couple of shirtless guys holding clubs. The king made them bigger too. Is that a threat? I hope not.
Come on, bring it.
Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
We're not at the stage of gunboat diplomacy yet. We're just window shopping. The president-elect's a real estate tycoon, and he's in a deal-making mood. The strategy is to get a better deal for America and create a North American security, energy, and trade network that keeps everyone safe, rich, and happy. Don't you want to be safe, rich, and happy? Geopolitical strategist and friend of the show, Peter Zion, says America is not a tiny European power looking to gobble up large chunks of land to feed their pride and empire. We're just looking for strategic islands and choke points, not to occupy, but to project power from. Think of Greenland as a cold Mexico with barely any population, right off the coast of Maine. Greenland has minerals that China's trying to mine. We're not crazy about that. And we'd like to expand our basing there to compete against Russia in the Arctic and elsewhere.
Yep.
Only problem is the Scandinavians aren't going to love this move. And we need their help in the Baltics and the North Sea. So we're going to have to wheel and deal. What about Panama? I don't really want to have to occupy a poor, corrupt country run by cartels, but I don't like getting ripped off with high fees every time we sail through. So maybe this flex will force them to drop the price. I used to love the idea of gobbling up Canada. Vast energy reserves, doubling our geography. We'd never lose another Winter Olympics. But do we really want to add that many liberals to our population?
That's a
Even
lot.
if we split it into two states, a conservative West and a liberal East, because Eastern Canada is so populated, it'd be an electoral disaster for Republicans. No thanks. But the Canadians need to shape up when it comes to trade, energy, and timber. I'd still like to add stars to our flag, and Canada does seem ripe for the picking. Maybe we just take Saskatchewan and Alberta, because the fact that they don't want to become part of America makes me want to make them. Trump's going on.
Guys, let me tell you this. The amount of change that's coming to America, to just the entire spectrum of the world with Trump stepping in, I want to show you this. This is beautiful because you don't hear this enough when it comes to how things are going to play out. This, because it's very strategic. It's called the American system. Trump knows what he's doing. And one of the persons that's most closest to Trump details it out in such a sophisticated way. Listen to this.
MAGA economics is based upon trade and tariffs and what I call the American system. The American system was created by an individual named Alexander Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton, who was obviously one of the big drivers in back of the Constitution, he was also a driver of this system called the American system. He did this with his report, kind of like a parallel to the Federalist Papers, where the politics of it, the economics of it was put out in a thing called the Report on Manufacturers. The Report on Manufacturers. And it has not gotten historically the heightened awareness of like the Federalist Papers, the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, but from a business and economic part and really thinking through the American business model. Hamilton thought it through. That's why I've always said, if you take all the founding fathers, and you got to leave Washington out because Washington was just at a different level. But if you take the rest of the revolutionary generation and the founding fathers, to me, there's no doubt that Hamilton's the greatest. Number one, his courage and bravery. He served as the aide-de-camp to General Washington. He was what many people said, and particularly Aaron Burr and people that were jealous of him, he's the son that General Washington never had. General Washington he loved this guy. And it's a fact that Hamilton, he would not let Hamilton take a field command when Hamilton was obviously not just ready for it, but deserved it. And finally, they had a falling out about that. He finally let Hamilton do the last charge at Yorktown. The last redoubt was taken by then Colonel Hamilton, who was brave beyond brave. Later, he would become a general and actually thought about redoing the army, the standing army. But his work, not just on the Federalist Paper, but he thought through, he was the first finance minister. That tension between Hamilton and Jefferson was palatable, between kind of a nationalist that believed in a strong central government and a strong central bank in the whole capital markets part of it, which was Hamilton, versus kind of the Jeffersonian yeoman Democrats of the pastoral nature of that. That tension has been throughout American history between populist and the elitist. And remember, the least elite person was Hamilton. He came from, a very questionable circumstances down in the Caribbean, earned everything just by hard work, intelligence, and grit, whereas Jefferson was from one of the landed aristocracy of the Commonwealth of Virginia, really the English aristocracy replanted here, who went to revolutionary France. It was much more of a revolutionary than Hamilton. Interesting juxtaposition.
Guys, y'all see this? I just love this because it just shows us things have kind of always been there, but it's always been the people that were anti-establishment, the people that weren't a part of the political spectrum. They were able to come in and really make change. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button, guys. It really does help. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it does that. Sometimes it does, the thumbs up. But it really does help the channels, guys. And thank you so much for all your support to all of our members of the channel, guys. Y'all are so amazing. Want to give some love to Brenda Burciago, Becky Gavon, Brian McGavick. So much for your support in the super chats. Y'all show them some love. We couldn't do this without you. We love America. We are a America First mentality, and it is amazing to get to see and report all the good stuff that's happening. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.